Welcome to Right is Wrong with Brian and Tom. We were going to call it The Right is Wrong with Brian and Tom, but that would be adding an extra word, and we respect your valuable time and don't want to waste any of it, so we made the title a little shorter. Anyway, welcome to Right is Wrong with Brian and Tom. Here are Brian and Tom. I'm not sure which is which since I'm a robot. Enjoy!
So, how's it going today?
It's going pretty well, Tom. I'm Brian, by the way. Well, you can't tell because otherwise I could be Tom because Trump talks in the third person all the time.
Yeah, you could refer to yourself as, well, you'd refer to
Yeah.
yourself as your last name because he doesn't call himself Donald.
Yes, I love when he signs off on everything. It says in his social media, Donald J. Trump president, and then he signs everything off, Donald J. Trump president, as if people have such a short attention span they don't remember what they read 12 words ago.
He says President of the United States.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for your attention to this matter.
I don't want to start off with a controversial with a controversial subject, but he seems like kind of a dick.
Who, Trump?
Yeah, he seems kind of a dick.
This is kind of a novel, you have kind of a novel idea brewing here.
I have a unique way of thinking, Tom, but
By
no,
the
he
way,
seems kind of dicky.
We should explain why we're doing this podcast because you probably don't even, most of you don't even know who we are. So we should probably explain. So like everybody out there, you know, well, not everybody, but the sane people or the thinking people, we are if feeling a little bit of frustration with the way that our government is going and the direction it's heading, and particularly with the asshole in chief. So we decided to talk about it here on this podcast.
I agree. I think, I mean, my goal is to rile people up and get them, first of all, to tell them about issues that they might not have,
Right.
had time to know about.
Right.
But also, I think it's important that if you make people angry, they will go out and do something. If people are not angry, they will just sit at home.
Well, it's also
anger leads to action.
Right. I also have read a lot about how if you are vocal, anybody is vocal or expresses themselves, whether it's on Facebook or Instagram or by doing a podcast, it kind of like gives permission or encourages other people to speak out in their community. They may feel like they can't speak out, but the more people that speak out, the more kind of like bold and emboldened, I guess we should say, people will become, which is good. The more people that speak out, the more information people have, the more it'll saturate, and maybe finally something will happen, will get done, you know?
Yeah, so people won't feel like they're alone.
That's it. That's our goal, is to make
in their violent thoughts.
I feel like maybe this is going to just quickly turn into a therapy session for you, but that's okay.
Sometimes I have such awful thoughts. I zip tie myself.
You actually
I get the zip ties on.
You dress up as ice, and then you put the gator over your face, pretend you're ice, and then take it off and pretend you're you, and then put the gator back on and pretend you're ice, and then you like battle with yourself as if you're being detained by ice.
No. That you don't have this. You're not quite telling the story accurately, Tom. I have an ice costume that just covers the left half of my body, and the right half of my body, I'm wearing a blue suit. And then I just turn my body in the mirror and I'm like, whoa, I'm this guy. Whoa, I'm this guy.
And then you attempt to drag yourself to Alligator Alcatraz.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's talk about that for a second, because that's kind of been in the news a lot recently. And our dear leader visited Alligator Alcatraz with Kristi Noem, wearing, I wouldn't say matching hats, but hats. They each wore a different hat. Trump was wearing his Gulf of America hat, which, by the way, if you put it on a hat, it's just a done deal. I mean, you don't have to do anything else. That's all you have to do is just put something on a hat.
I agree. That's how my mother named me. She didn't even tell the doctor. She just I was a baby, and she just put a little hat on. It says, I'm Brian.
That's it. But yeah, they went there yesterday, and Trump was delighting in the future torture of, peaceful immigrants. I guess the point is to put anyone who is here without the proper documentation into these tents inside of, or these cages inside of these tents in the Everglades, and he has his fingers crossed that the alligators will end up eating most of them.
He looked so gleeful. I mean, he looked happier there than when he won the presidency.
Exactly.
He really did.
Yeah.
It's really disgusting. In fact, they're having merchandise already about that, and they're selling it on Etsy. And I guess there's a big Etsy boycott until
I heard that. Yeah.
until they take the alligator Alcatraz memorabilia off the site.
So, Brian, I want you to not, if you can, and I know it's going to be hard for you, but I don't want you to buy anything on Etsy for the next couple days.
It's going to be really hard.
I know, because where are you going to get your crocheted, customized t-shirt quilts?
The customized, I mean, they give me such inspiration. The slogans are really, really brighten my day.
I actually do like Etsy, to be fair. No, I'm not going to hate on Etsy. I mean, there's some pretty cool stuff on there, but nevertheless, you can get your Alligator Alcatraz merch on Etsy if you're interested.
Yes. It's really disgusting. By the way, you know that they built the Alligator Alcatraz in 8 days. So, a lot of thought, there's going to be a lot of amenities.
No, don't worry. DeSantis has already promised that you'll be able to shower and eat when you're detained there. So, I mean, what more would you, I just don't understand why people are complaining, because what more would you want?
That's all that life is about, showering and eating.
Yeah.
And being in a cage with other people.
Yeah. I mean, that's the American dream. That's why those people came here. That's why these people fled their countries to come pick strawberries and do our gardening and work at hotels and in hospitality and be waiters and waitresses, so that they could end up eating and showering in a cage in Florida.
Yep. And this is, I don't want to start a rumor, but allegedly free towels.
At Alligator Alcatraz?
Yeah, because and if you go to like fancy health clubs, sometimes you got to pay $1 or $5 to get a towel. They don't have to pay for the towels.
Oh, if you do end up there, can you try to snag me one of those Alligator Alcatraz robes, the terry cloth robes?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, those are real nice.
And all of this proliferation of merchandise and hats. There's a red hat that says they don't know what the fuck they're doing, which is what Trump said on the tarmac.
About Iran
about Iran and Israel. And anyway, this woman had the word, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about, and she spelled there THEIR.
Perfect.
On a hat, and she got a lot of blowback, and this was her excuse. She said, "Oh, you libtards, you don't understand satire."
Oh yeah.
I'm like, satire, it's incorrect spelling.
Yeah. Well, you have to understand the depth of stupidity. And look, I don't want to, this is a weird territory, right? Because stupidity is, I mean, okay, right? Ignorance is okay. To a certain extent, you should try to learn about things and educate yourself about, especially what's happening in government and in the country. But if you're ignorant you're busy, you got 5 kids and you're trying to put yourself through community college to get a better job and you're trying to take care, whatever. You don't have to keep up on things, but the intentional and wanton ignorance, when you're ignorant about something and then you push back on someone who's trying to educate you about something as if learning is a libtard or a liberal trait, that's the part where it gets a little bit crazy. Like, they purposefully don't want to have information. And if they do have information, they want to spin it and turn it into false information, as if that's like a feather in their cap. It's a strange, twisted way of looking.
Feather in their misspelled cap.
Nice.
Well, I mean, here's the situation. This woman encapsulates everything that's wrong with MAGA, because she made a mistake and she cannot admit it.
Right.
And that is that is everything that MAGA is about. She cannot admit it. Just say, "Oh wow, shit." The make up a lie like your leader does. "Oh, the hat printing store must have messed up."
But to be fair, you've never made any mistakes.
I've made 3 mistakes, and but then I watched My Name Is Earl, and I went back and rectified the 3.
That's all it takes, huh?
Yeah, that's all it
Yeah.
did. Everything's cool now.
Did you hear Trump yesterday when he was asked in the press conference? And by the way, he was asked a question by a Fox reporter. So this was like a softball, purposefully tailored, MAGA crafted question that a Fox reporter asked him about Alligator Alcatraz. And they were asked him, do you know how long the detainees will be here? Will it be like weeks, months, years? And he said, what's your
Yes.
question? Did you see that? And did you see what his answer
Yes.
was?
His
Yeah.
answer was basically how long he thinks he's going to be in
Yeah. He
Florida.
was like, I love
He
Florida.
made it about
It's
it. I have
great.
lots of friends here, and
DeSantis is a pal, and I don't know how long I'm going to be here, but I'm definitely going to come down here. I mean,
I'm
so
good.
the White House
Yeah.
is great and all, but like, so the question is, did he misunderstand the question, or was he so stupid that he's or demented that he misunderstood, or was it a like one of the world's worst deflections?
I think it's both.
Yeah.
I think it's both. Why can't it be both? What I would like to start is I'd like to open up Bear-a-Lago, where I have just vicious grizzly bears that haven't eaten in like a month, and then all
Yes.
these Botox bimbos and Trump and everything, they just get attacked by grizzly
That's
bears.
like our version of Alligator Alcatraz.
Exactly.
Oh, by the way,
Bear-a-Lago.
what is what is Trump's fixation with Alcatraz recently? Like, I went for a very long time without hearing about Alcatraz, unless you're in San Francisco and you take that tour or whatever. But like the average person, you don't hear about Alcatraz, and it's been, I mean, that's been like a meme or a topic recently.
From what I've heard, and I heard that he stayed up late at night and he was flipping around on the TV channels, as all good presidents do at 4 in
Yeah,
the morning.
yeah.
And Escape from Alcatraz came on, and he became obsessed by it.
And
And that's all it is.
he wanted to turn the government into an Escape from Alcatraz themed, like a theme park.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the word Alcatraz is not offensive in that everybody in Alcatraz has gone through due process and been charged with crimes.
Right, right. It was just a
Unlike,
prison. It was a normal
yeah,
prison. Yeah.
but at least the people there had a fighting chance of having a lawyer and being in front of a judge or a jury. I mean, what they're doing is just snatching people and tossing them in dog cages.
And I heard, and you know, I don't like to say I heard because that starts to sound like Trump. I'm hearing things, you
Yeah,
know.
that was a great Trump impression. I felt
I know.
like
I've been working on that for a while.
I thought
Yeah.
you just merged calls and you conferenced them in. That
I
was
know
great.
if this podcast doesn't work out, I'll just travel around and do like very, very bad Trump impressions. But no, he said, and yeah, again, I don't like to say I heard, but like, no, I read that and I read on a reputable source. I didn't read it on Reddit, but I read that they're now going to start detaining citizens because they have to meet their quota and they can't get enough undocumented folks into custody. So they're going to start detaining naturalized citizens for maybe petty crimes like shoplifting or whatever without due process. And then maybe turn their attention to just like naturalized, you know, Latinos or mostly Latinos, to be honest. But they're just going to like just randomly snatch people now.
They're just going to take like the shortstop from baseball teams.
Yeah.
I-
The shortstop is, I mean, probably one of the most expendable positions. So
That's true because
yeah.
they don't even have a base named after the position.
And it's they're short. So yeah.
Well, where do these quotas come from? They're just fucking made up.
Well, because
They're made up quotas.
they're giving them more money now. They're in the big. By the way, I just wanted to say, I just want to take a quick break to just let you know that I'm feeling very big and beautiful today.
No, you can't say that anymore because the best senator in the history of the United States, Chuck fucking Schumer, got the name changed yesterday.
He
Did you
did?
hear about this? Yes.
No.
Yes. I don't know what he got it changed from, but he had.
This is what they're focusing on, changing the name.
Yes.
But the bill's still going to pass, but they're just changing the name.
Yes, he got the name changed, and he was so proud of it, and he tweeted about it, and I'm like, dude, you're fucking go put the glasses back and watch them slide down your nose.
Do you know how low the glasses went on his nose when he made that announcement about the name change? Like,
they were
so close to the end of the tip.
I know. I was getting really nervous.
Yeah. Well, one of these days they're going to fall off the end of the tip of his nose.
I know. And they might break or.
And then what's he going to do?
He's the most horrific leader. I put part of me, if I was a little younger, I would move back to New York and just run for his seat because
I forget I forget he's even in that position because I don't hear any, you sometimes hear about Buttigieg or AOC or Bernie, they had that tour, or you hear about I mean, I hear too much about fucking Fetterman, who's, I don't get me started on Fetterman, who I used to like, who's
I
now
used to
just,
like him too.
he is like, if you looked up buffoon in the dictionary, you'd see Fetterman with his
I
fucking his sweat shorts and his hoodie. I feel like he's the kind of guy who takes a hoodie and cuts the sleeves off so they look ragged and turns it into like a short sleeve hoodie. But like, I don't hear about Schumer because I don't think he doesn't do anything. He reacts to things occasionally, but he doesn't actually do anything.
That's not true. He writes a lot of letters, a lot of scathing letters. I think he's invented a new font. I mean, he's busy.
I use Schumer, by the way, the Schumer font on my latest pitch, my pitch
Yeah, the
deck.
Schumer
Yeah.
font is
Yeah.
you type it out and then 5 seconds later it disappears.
On a
That's the
typewriter,
Schumer font.
but you have to use a typewriter for it because that's how old.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's
That was a
he's the
Schumer.
worst.
That was the Schumer's old joke. But
Yes.
they should, if I had my druthers, they'd put Schumer and McConnell into one of those power slap competitions, and it would just.
Oh, that would be great.
But I was gonna say, oh, you said Schumer changed the name of the big beautiful bill, and I'm
Yes.
wondering do you know what he changed it to?
I don't. Star Spangled Nazis. I don't know what he changed it to. I don't know. I have no idea.
Because I know
I was going to
MTG
do a
called
deep dive, but I don't care. That's not the problem, Chuck.
MTG called the bill a shit show, so that would be a good name for the bill, the shit show bill.
The shit show bill.
Yeah.
Which is weird because most people in America call MTG a shit show.
Well, you don't have to. I mean, she is.
Yeah.
She is actually, like, if you, again, kind of like the Fetterman thing. Like, if you had, I feel like what's so funny about the MAGA people and these days in politicians is they're all kind of now fitting into these archetypes, right? Like, there's no just kind of, I don't want to use the word normal, but just good. Like Buttigieg to me is a good example of just like the kind of guy that you get. You're like, okay, he's a smart, means well, has a good political sense. But everyone else is just kind of like a fucking caricature of some bad thing that our society created over the last 60 years.
I
Like
agree.
Bobert is the like dumb hussy who, MTG is kind of like the Karen who, just kind of yells about everything. And Schumer is like the, mothball smelling grandpa. Like, it's tough to have any optimism about I mean, the people on Capitol Hill. There used to be some dignity to it.
Yeah, all dignity is out the door. And the amazing thing is that Trump, fat orange fascist fuck, just keeps doing things without congressional approval. And I think I spoke to you about this yesterday, but he just made $7 billion that was going to schools disappear. He just decided not to pay out the $7 billion.
There was no explanation. I think it was just it's the new big beautiful I hate schools bill.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's good. It's in fashion to hate schools. I think that's the future. That's how you build a great society. Is you put people in cages in the Everglades and you go to war against schools. I mean, that's the perfect formula for. And by the way, if you're listening to this and you're a MAGA supporter or you're on the fence or whatever, and you can justify withholding billions of dollars from schools, great, more power to you. I'd love to, reach out. I'd love to hear your arguments for that.
The amazing thing is that they always have money for what they want.
Right.
Always.
Well,
they always find it, but they always find it. I mean, $1 trillion for the military, which is obviously crazy, but they always find the money. The ICE was going to go from 2.3 billion to like 42 billion. Where does that 40 billion come from? You know where it comes from? Taking food out of the mouths of the poor.
It's a grift. It's like the money for Alligator Alcatraz came from the FEMA money, which was supposed to help people rebuild their lives after devastating floods and climate change. Climate change induced storms and all this stuff that's happening on a regular basis.
Almost $500 million.
Yeah,
almost $500 million.
Yeah. By the way, 8 days they built a bunch of cages and tents. Why did it cost $500 million? Like if I had $500 million, I could build like a Disneyland. And they built some cages and some tents in the swamp.
They're really nice tents, Tom. They're beautiful. They're beautiful.
They actually have gold toilets.
Yeah.
It's time for the hit game show, the MAGA Pyramid.
The MAGA $42 billion pyramid.
Exactly.
Okay, here we go. Dead raccoon. Joe Biden. Random Chinese guy in Pennsylvania.
Reasons why I'm not successful.
Yes.
All right.
Next, moving on.
Yeah, because it's not because of anything other than it's other people's faults.
And other mammals.
By the way,
yes.
I'm an animal rights guy, and I do think raccoons deserve personhood, but that's a different conversation.
Absolutely, and citizenship. Okay, Nazis, Proud Boys, Oath Keepers, Stephen Miller.
People whose only goal is to keep us safe.
Yes, moving on. Tariffs, deporting immigrants, drill baby drill, deporting immigrants, meme coins, tariffs,
things that
deporting immigrants,
things that are ridiculous, things that'll make me rich.
Yes. Oof. Okay, moving on. January 6th insurrectionists, Kyle Rittenhouse.
Ooh.
January 6th insurrectionists, Kyle Rittenhouse, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Kyle Rittenhouse.
Ultimate Patriots.
Yes.
By the way, not to digress, but have you seen a picture of Kyle Rittenhouse recently? Or
yes, he's really fat.
He looks like that JD Vance meme.
Yes, he really does.
He looks like that round JD Vance meme that woman got like detained at the airport for having on her phone, or that guy there was a guy
the Norwegian guy,
yeah,
which is crazy. Kyle Rittenhouse has gotten so heavy that he should be charged for quadruple murder now instead of just double murder.
No,
he's a fat fuck.
He's not a murderer. He's a patriot.
Last one. It's the top of the pyramid now. Military birthday parade, sending innocent people to El Salvador, sending the Marines to Los Angeles, sending innocent people to El Salvador, building Pete Hegseth a hair and makeup studio.
I was going to say great vacations, but that last one didn't. I know. Great use of our taxes.
Yes, that is it. And that is MAGA $42 billion pyramid.
Woo-hoo! All right. Well, I mean, I feel good now I feel really shitty about pretty much everything in the news, but I feel really good that I won that.
Yes. And yeah, you're so rich now, $42 billion. That's pretty amazing.
I will use it for building some shanty town holding cells for some of my neighbors who I feel like should be, like my neighbor across the street who hung a Trump flag from their house. I feel like they should be put into a shanty.
Oh, wow. See, I hate him. I mean, every part of Trump's body, I can't look at him. I wish that somebody would make a filter that would just like blur his face, but I'd still know it was him because his little fucking tiny hands. Trump is like the only person in the world. He could put on his golfing gloves and fist fuck a rat and never touch the sides of the rat's ass.
I just want to end this podcast with the phrase "fist fuck a rat." I feel
fist fuck a rat.
Yeah, I feel like
fist fuck a rat.
That should be the ending of every. Good night, everybody, and fist fuck a rat. Goodbye.
And the weird thing is, the rat doesn't have an orgasm either. So he's expanding his non-orgasm streak into other species. He is
It
just
begs the
awful.
question, do rats have orgasms? That's a question for another podcast.
Not when they're around Donald Trump, they don't.
Okay. All right. I guess that answers my
I'm not
question.
sure anybody has an orgasm around Donald Trump except for Kristi Noem because she knows she's on the loose. Oh, one more thing before we go.
Yeah.
I thought that this was a joke. It's not. Kristi Noem said that Biden let a cannibal into the country.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I heard about the cannibal. Yeah.
Yeah, the cannibal, and then Kristi Noem deported the cannibal, and the cannibal started eating himself on the plane. And there's no documentation for this. It's just another story she made up.
I just why is this? I don't even have a response to that because it's just so. I mean,
cannibals don't eat themselves.
It doesn't really matter that she told this story because it's so silly and stupid. But I guess it's just emblematic. It's emblematic of how far we've come from any sort of sanity. That we can have people running major departments in our government who are literally mentally incompetent. It's not even just that they're not competent. It's literally they'd be diagnosed
mentally incompetent and mentally ill.
Yeah, it's really.
I'm sorry. I would venture to guess that 98% of the people that are going to be going to Alligator Alcatraz are harmless and don't deserve to be there.
And the other 2% are cannibals.
The other 2% are cannibals, and it'll be 1% because they'll be eating
themselves.
Eating themselves. Yeah. It's just now instead of they're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs, they're eating the pets, they're eating themselves.
I just don't know what I would start with if I ate myself. I don't know what body part, but that's a different consideration.
My left arm is full of protein. See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Right is Wrong with Brian and Tom. Please follow us on social media and anti-social media. But please don't follow us while we're running errands. We're paranoid enough as it is. See you next time, human beings.